class, I'm here to present to you. Hold on. The topic I'm going to discuss is in this presentation is the black denial of Dominicans. I know this topic is a little bit different than most people will be presenting, but this is something I see every day growing up in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx. I chose to speak about this because although I'm African American male, the majority of my friends are Latino, specifically Dominican, and the comments they make when someone tells them that they are black might be offensive to someone who isn't their friend like myself. So I took the liberty on to research this topic. So on MiamiHerald.com, there's an article in the Afro-Latino section called Black Denial, and in this article, many of my questions were answered. To start off with a statistic, in the Dominican Republic, most estimates say that 90% of Dominicans are black or of mixed race, but the census figures say that only 11% of the country's 9 million people are black. From the article and interviews with a few of my Dominican friends, I have discovered that Dominican people associate the word black with being ugly, illegal, and negative. In the Dominican Republic, to be black is to be Haitian, and the majority of Dominicans do not want to be considered Haitian. So the dark-skinned Dominicans have a surplus of categories containing many different calibers which they rename themselves. Some examples are Indian, burned Indian, washed Indian, dark Indian, dirty Indian, cinnamon, moreno, or mulatto, but really do they call themselves negro. Other examples of the hatred towards being black is how the majority of Dominican female with curly hair perm their hair and get extensions to avoid the name calling and attacks when they leave their house for work each morning. They on the article they interviewed a professional female. She said she's not trying to be white, but she's just trying to look pretty, and curly hair isn't pretty. Curly hair isn't pretty, so they consider curly hair bad hair, or as my friends say, pelo malo. Connecting this with my statistic from earlier, the article also says something that I was thinking exactly, that there, as in much of Latin America, the one-drop rule works in reverse. One drop of white blood allows even the darkest skinned person to consider themselves white. Some reasoning for this goes back to when Trujillo was in power. Rafael Trujillo, ruling from 1930 to 1961, powerfully installed anti-Haitian sentiments, which can be blamed for creating many of the categories that I named before. So this hatred is generational. Like many of my friends say, they are not racist, and I believe them, but they say the same things and the same comments that as the people who were interviewed in the article I read. They say things to describe people like morena limpia, meaning clean black girl, like if all the black girls in the world are dirty or nasty. Like I know Dominican people, I even know Dominican people who are in gangs who brutally beat up like black people for no reason. Like I got jumped once in Washington Heights just for no reason, just I guess because I'm black. A lot of my friends don't like to consider themselves as from African descent, and I blame that on the history books because in our elementary schools and middle schools we learned that in the slave trade, Africans came from Africa to the United States. But in college, I learned that majority of the African slaves went to Latin America in the Caribbean first before they came to the United States. So these racial divides are currently happening all across Latin America and the Caribbean, and it's not only Dominican Republic. And even in Brazil, who has the largest percent of African people outside of Africa, has disdain for being considered black. So when Latin American people do migrate or immigrate to the United States, they bring with them what they have learned. Not all people are like this, but those who are can be taught that black is not ugly and curly is not bad. We just have to start teaching. And we can start in Binghamton, because I've seen many of the things I discussed today right on our campus. Thank you, class, for listening.